Hello, hello everybody. I thought I will do another video today. It's on another book that I recently gotten. Please, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to my channel. I make great videos for you guys to watch at no cost at all, and just want to spread the word. And so the book is called True to Form. It looks like this. It's by Dr. Eric Goodman, and essentially it's about sorry it teaches two big concepts, including decompression training and anchoring. So um, decompression training is the first part of it, and it includes essentially your axial skeleton, which includes your spine, your rib cage, and your neck, moving outward, so um, expanding that skeleton in your ribcage outward to prevent the compression, because in our modern world, right, our comfort type of world, we use our cell phones, computer screens, we sit on the couch, even when we drive, we sit down in a slouched fashion. So essentially, this kind of like forward relaxed posture compresses us. And so when our rib cage gets compressed, when our torso and rib cage get compressed, our breathing also gets impacted. Our respiration gets impacted because your rib cage can't expand as much to get all that oxygen, all that air in. And so as a result, your physiology deteriorates as well, because if your organs don't get enough air, right? If your lungs cannot spread all that oxygen to other tissues, you're going to get essentially your physiology is going to be impacted too. So that's the first kind of big theme, expanding it, right? Expanding that torso to prevent all that compression from taking hold on us from all those years that we live in this kind of comfort world where we're slouched and our head is kind of like forward, right? um, Essentially, in the slouched way where gravity compresses us, we want to be able to kind of oppose gravity and fully expand that rib cage and get all that air in. The second big piece is the pelvis. So the pelvis is essentially our center of gravity, and all the muscles that attach to the pelvis are called core muscles. So essentially, we need to be able to stabilize these core muscles so that decompression can occur as best as possible. So if our core muscles are strong and stabilized, we can better expand our rib cage, right? And so there are actually many moves that are part of this core foundation program. So it's both a breathing protocol through this decompressed breathing, which kind of expands your lungs to prevent that compression from occurring. So it involves decompression breathing, but it also involves various movements and postures, like the founder is the big one, the lunge, and the supine decompression, etc. So there's a whole slew of movements that you can do to help you properly hold yourself and move properly as well, just like we used to do before that this compression started. So being able to decompress ourselves, hold and move ourselves properly is kind of the theme of this kind of breathing and the movement and postures that are part of this core foundation program that Eric Goodman talks about. So yeah, essentially the big ideas again are one is compression, which is not good. When we sit down, it's like we get rid of gravity, right? So essentially everything gets compressed, everything gets squished, we slouch um, instead of standing up tall. And so gravity literally forces us down to the center of the earth, and we need to oppose gravity, right? That's good for bone density, for our aerobic capacity, for many things. In fact, if you don't oppose gravity, you age faster, right? You don't want to sit down all the time. It's like the new smoking. No, you want to oppose gravity, right? You don't want to always be compressed, slouched. You want to fully expand yourself. And a good way to do it, actually, is to simply stand tall. And he gives an example in his book where you can literally put a book over your head and literally right? If you do that, there's there's no way you can be compressed or slouched. You're gonna be standing tall, lengthening your torso, giving enough room for the lungs, for the rib cage and the lungs to fully expand with air, and therefore your physiology is only going to be impacted in a positive way. So you want to decompress, you want to stretch out your body, and so that's really important. To prevent compression, right? We want to move like we were designed to move, right? We don't want to be squished, right? And so that's why it's really important to be able to do that. And the simple way is, again, to stand tall. Put your sternum up, chest up, shoulders externally rotated, and give it a natural length to the spine, right? Also, he gives an example of the head. You don't want to put it forward and then like overextend your back neck muscles. No, you want to move it back, up and back, right? Not too much back. You want to give the back of the skull room for the nerves to pass through, for the communication to occur, but you want it to be in kind of not too forward and not too back, kind of just over your chest. And a good way is to put a book over your head. Then you're definitely going to be doing it right. And so that's important. And so decompression breathing involves essentially making your rib cage wide as possible as you inhale, and then maintain that fully expanded rib cage as you exhale. You can do that by contracting your abdomen, right? By squeezing your abdomen when you exhale to prevent your rib cage from getting smaller and smaller. You want to keep it wide with inhalation and exhalation. So that's called decompression breathing. You can actually do that by simply placing two fingers between the lowest part of the ribs and the pelvis, and you want the distance to increase with every inhalation and to be maintained with an exhalation. So essentially, you see that? There you go. You want that distance to increase after you breathe in, but also to be maintained when you breathe out. And the way to do that, right, so keep your torso lengthened. The way to do that on the exhalation is to contract your belly, your navel, your abdomen. And so that's called decompression breathing. Because again, compression affects our rib cage and affects our lungs expansion, so our lungs can't expand properly. So you want to fully lengthen that your torso to give the lungs enough space to expand, to fully expand your rib cage, and therefore give room for the lungs to fully expand with the air. And then he also talks about something called fluency. So fluency is just like learning a new language. If you want to learn Spanish or Mandarin, you need to give it time. We want to essentially remove all that habitual programming that we had throughout so many years, because that's how we used our body, that's how we moved for such a long time. So you really need to get into a habit of doing this kind of core foundation training and this decompressed breathing to really make this kind of automatic and into a habit and actually incorporate it into your daily life. Whether you're brushing your teeth, or whether you are washing your face, or looking in the fridge, or unloading your dishwasher, or vacuuming, or gardening, whatever you're doing, you need to give the practice to actually involve those movements, right? Whenever you wake up, you want to do a supine decompression, for example. Well, you have to keep on practicing it, just like anything new, just like learning a new language, because essentially you need to learn those new ways to how to hold and move your body, right, through this core foundation training. And he talks about something that consistency is more important than intensity. It's not how intense you do it, it's more so how consistent you are in doing this. So if you're doing it daily versus like barely like doing it, right? And then the last kind of big picture I want to talk about is it talks about taking breaks every 30 minutes, but ideally every 20 minutes. So every 20 minutes, after sitting down intensely doing your work, you want to stand up, stretch, do something. 10 burpees, going out for a brisk walk. Essentially, he says that it's very important to maybe practice some of these foundational training moves to fully decompress and anchor yourself, right? And anchor your pelvis, your body, right? So this includes decompression breathing, maybe some of the moves that he has, like the founder, which I will introduce in the next video, um, lunge decompression, woodpecker, right? All those moves that he talks about. So that's pretty much it. And he mentions that exercise is important. So it's important to exercise, but what's even more important is to just move correctly, right? Because our ancestors didn't exercise nearly as much as we did. You may exercise so much doing vigorous exercise, but they walked correctly all the time. And so if you have the right movement, that actually reduces the need to exercise. And so you can practice these kind of techniques, right? They're for the core foundation training. They're great for recovery. They're great for like a warm-up for an exercise, or they're even a workout. Forget about working out. This is a great workout if you can do this 15 minutes daily. And guess what? It really helps you move your body in a good fashion, because you learn how to properly breathe, fully expand the diaphragm, and how to be properly anchored to the ground. So essentially your axial and your apendicular skeleton work in concert, right? There's actually a tension between them, and you need one for the other. And so they work beautifully together if you both practice the decompression breathing, fully expanding your axial skeleton, but also practicing the postures where you anchor yourself to the ground and use your appendicular skeleton properly, right? To hold yourself, well, and to move your muscles in the right way, like we were meant to do before. So hopefully you guys learned a lot from this, and in the next video I'll actually show you the postures and movements. So this video is kind of like the theory behind it, and next video will be a bit more theory, but also the actual movement and postures that I want to teach you guys to